Well, it is Friday, our favorite day, mainly because only half the staff shows up and we cut out early and leave all the work to Gleiser. Speaking of which, KTBB owner and general manager Paul Gleiser with You Tell Me What's on Your Mind, sir.
Garth, following up on what you've been talking about and talk back this morning, we're sponsored by KE Cellars, Tyler's Old World Style Boutique Winery in the French Quarter on South Broadway across from the mall. Before we get started, your participation matters. A reminder of that fact. When you're an active participant in this feature, you make it better for everyone. In addition to what you hear here on the air on KTBB, this discussion is taking place at youtellmetexas.com. When you visit youtellmetexas.com, you'll find the tools for sharing these commentaries with your friends, associates, and members of your social network via email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can subscribe to You Tell Me Texas and be among the very first to know when we posted something new. But most important, you can post your comments, pro or con, to anything we say here. It's your voice that matters most, and that's why we call it You Tell Me. I was never a great math student, but yet I always appreciated the fact that math is not subjective. I had several arguments with English teachers along the way on matters of punctuation and usage and sentence construction. Those arguments were never clear-cut, and I won some, and I lost some. But not so with math. It was either right or wrong. 6 times 8 equals 48 for white people, black people, Republicans, Democrats, Poles, Swedes, Russians, Catholics, and Jews. No matter how fervently one might believe that 6 times 8 ought to equal 50, it never will. Math is not subjective. Neither is an income statement. Expenses that exceed revenues by $3.6 billion will result in a negative bottom line number every time, no matter who voted for you. Such is what newly elected Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker faces. He took office just last month and is faced with a $3.6 billion deficit that must be addressed by one means or another. In government, just as in business, it is employees that consume the vast majority of the money. Payroll and payroll overhead always account for the majority of expenses. Thus, Governor Walker, like any other executive who must bring expenses in line with revenues in order to survive, is looking to payroll costs as the most likely area in which to effect needed savings. Wisconsin public employees, including school teachers, have a benefits package that only a government would have ever created in the first place. For decades, politicians have been buying union campaign money and union votes, public union votes, by making lavishly rich deals for government employees. Public employees in Wisconsin don't have a Cadillac health plan. They have a Rolls-Royce health plan that costs the taxpayers of Wisconsin $22,000 per state employee per year. State employees in Wisconsin contribute not a single dime to the cost of their health coverage and not a single dime to the cost of their retirement plans. Post-2008 housing and financial sector meltdown, those plans are no longer sustainable, and the governor is asking state employees and teachers to contribute the equivalent of 7% of their own gross pay toward funding their own benefits package. The result? Wisconsin of 2011 has become Greece of 2010. Employees have taken to the streets in protest. Thousands of teachers have called in sick, resulting in the closing of schools. The Democrats in the Wisconsin state legislature have fled to Illinois in order to prevent a quorum for the purpose of voting on the governor's proposals. All because state employees are being asked to do what you and I do as a matter of course: pay for our own retirement and contribute to our own health care. While we were all living large on inflated home prices and easy money on our MasterCards, public employees were busy turning the tables on us. They are now the masters, and we are now the servants. We in the private sector now must work in order to serve them. So they believe so strongly that they have taken to the streets. We can only hope that Governor Walker of Wisconsin holds his ground, because this is just the first battle in what is likely to be a long war. We hope that however painful the process is, that fiscal sanity is restored in Wisconsin so that other state governors will have an example to follow. That's my word. What's yours? Go to youtellmetexas.com and you tell me. If there is anyone who's a tough wine critic, it's my wife. She puts on no airs at all. She doesn't talk the talk. She either likes the wine and says so, or she hates the wine and really says so. Thus my trepidation in pouring for her a glass of KE Cellars' recently released White Zinfandel. Now, this is a wine variety my wife likes, but from Tyler, well, only taste would tell. And so it did. She loves it. She dispatched me to fetch her more. She likes white Zens, and this particular blush-colored wine strikes a very neat balance between enjoyable fruitiness on the one hand and drinkability by red wine enthusiasts such as me on the other. If you like blush wines and wines with some of the fruitiness of the grape still in evidence, the K.E. Cellars new White Zinfandel is for you, but don't take my word. Visit K.E. Cellars today after work and ask to taste it. That's because K.E. Cellars is a working winery with a tasting room. Try any wine before you buy it. You simply cannot make a mistake. K.E. Cellars, Tyler's old world-style boutique winery in the French Quarter on South Broadway across from the mall, and online at KECellars.com.